Welcome to tonight's Fall River Conservation Commission meeting being held at Public Hearing Room on Monday, January 3rd at 5:30 p.m. First floor hearing room, One Government Center. Pursuant to the open meeting laws, any person may make an audio or video recording of the public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. The Fall River Conservation Commission is responsible for administration and enforcement of Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and its regulations within the city boundaries of Fall River. Tonight, first on the agenda is old business. Number one is the enforcement order SC-24-622. Owner applicant is Berkeley Street Limited LLC. I'm sorry, I didn't do roll call. Jumping ahead there. Want to start with roll call?
Chris Boyle.
John Bryant.
Louis Ferraro.
Jim Cusick.
James Hornsby.
All members are present. We also have Nina Pavo from City Planning and Caitlin Young from Planning. So, old business now. Let's see. Enforcement orders SC-24-622. The owner applicant is Berkeley Street Limited LLC. The project location is Bell Rock Road. Assessor's map is W-19-002. Commission to discuss enforcement order for violations including unpermitted alterations of wetland resource areas and associated buffer areas and expired order of conditions. This was tabled from December 6th meeting 2021.
May I speak on this, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
So I've been in communication with the owners of the property. I met them, I want to say two weeks ago, out on the site to go over the ongoing violations. They have thus started work fixing some of the violations. They've removed some of the sediment that was pushed into the wetland. They've worked on reestablishing siltation barriers. They've removed the porta potty that was knocked over in the wetland. They've also cleaned out some of the catch basins down the road that were heavily impacted with silt and installed new silt sacks. Unfortunately, they could not make it to this meeting. It was kind of I think their offices are closed or they were out or something. They just couldn't make it. So they're intending and coming to discuss this with the Conservation Commission at the February meeting. Another thing I just wanted to bring up is that they, while on site, I requested from them to create kind of an operations and maintenance plan regarding ongoing erosion and siltation controls. So they should have a kind of written document kind of highlighting the procedure that they're going to take from now on with inspections and cleanup and that sort of stuff. So I also talked to them a little bit about come springtime, maybe even hydroseeding some of the area and putting in boulders or blockades to keep soil from being pushed back into that area, and even hydroseeding a larger extent of area to add more stabilization. So, it's moving in the right direction. They've just requested that we move this to the February meeting as they could not attend today.
Okay. So should we motion to table this and keep the order conditions in place?
I make a motion to table this to the next meeting.
So moved.
Second vote?
Aye.
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 Okay. Measure passes. On the new business, number one is the first request for certificate of compliance is SC-24-751. Owner applicant is Walmart Real Estate Trust. Project location is 638 Quickershan Street. Assessor's map is F-02-002. Filed by Boyer on behalf applicant requesting a certificate of compliance. Bowlers has determined all work permitted has been substantially completed in accordance with the order of conditions with approved plans.
Would you like me to comment on that?
Sure.
Please.
So this is, as you know, Walmart. And there are actually two outstanding orders of conditions for the Walmart redevelopment. The first one was for the work of actually constructing the Walmart facility. And then the second one is the one before us tonight, which is for an addition they did for outdoor and outdoor lawn and internet pickups on the side of the building. It appears that all of the work has been done per the second order of conditions allowing that extension. There is that other order of conditions I have some concerns about. While I was on site, I found a few issues, but I've been in contact with Bowler, and we're gonna work towards having a plan to move forward in the spring to fix some of these issues. The issues being, there was a pea stone little trench between the edge of the sidewalk and the lawn itself. That was there once upon a time, but is gone now. They were required to plant vegetation in the area, wetland vegetation, because it was a replication area. It looked like someone went through and just maintenance was mowing it because they probably didn't know that, there was a restriction there. They do have wetland signage, which is good, but it also appears that trucks are using that area of pervious surface to turn around. But I think those are issues more pertaining to the original order, since the area of work wasn't approved in the order before us tonight. So, I make the recommendation that you approve the certificate of compliance for the new work, and that in the spring, hopefully, they'll come back to us with that older work that has yet to be completely, or that needs to be fixed.
Okay. Board have any questions? Okay, can I have a motion to certificate of compliance on the new work?
I make a motion to issue certificate of compliance on the new work as mentioned.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Aye.
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 Okay, passes. Next one is request for certificate of compliance, SC-24-726. Owner applicant is Highland Farms Development LLC. Project location is 20 Hayfield Lane. Assessor's map is U-01-0045. Filed by SciTech Inc. on behalf of applicant requesting a certificate of compliance. CES has determined all work permitted has been substantially completed in accordance with the order conditions and approved plans. Do you have any updates?
Yes, so I unfortunately do not recommend approving the certificate of compliance. Upon looking at aerial imagery and visiting the site, what appears to have happened is once the building was, the residential home was sold to the new owner, they actually constructed a in-ground pool completely behind the house, paving to, at the very least, the line of no disturbance. I haven't been able to go out on site to really look at exactly the extent, but at the very least, it is within the 25-foot zone. It is within all buffer area. It's also potentially within drainage easement as established for the by the Stormwater Authority, since that area is directly abuts one of the retention ponds for the Highland Farms 1 development. So at this time, I do not recommend issuing a certificate of compliance, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to be talking to the water and sewer about what they might proceed with in terms of the drainage easement issues, and then potentially at the next meeting we'll move forward with enforcement if at that point we don't have any resolution here.
Weren't they supposed to get that approved before putting a pool in?
So they did receive a building permit, but in the state of Massachusetts, receiving a permit from one permitting entity does not mean that, you have to follow up with the other ones. It's not one department's job to necessarily tell that person they need other permits. Is it, does it sometimes better to communicate that way? Yes, but, it's not the building department's fault that this was constructed within buffer area. It still falls to the homeowner.
So we should table this, get it?
Well, we should deny the.
I would recommend a vote of denial.
Okay. Can I have a motion of denial on the certificate of compliance?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Aye.
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 Okay, denial. Let's see, next is a request for certificate of compliance, SE-24-723. Owner applicant is Highland Farms Development LLC. Project location is 21 Hayfield Lane. Assessor's map is U-01-0043. Filed by SciTech on behalf of the applicant requesting a certificate of compliance. SEC has determined all work permitted has substantially been completed in accordance with order conditions and approval plan. Any update on that one?
So I went out and took a peek at this a while back, and everything looked okay. They had their signage as required. I don't have any concerns, and I recommend approval of this certificate of compliance at this time.
Okay. Can I have a motion for a certificate of compliance?
I make a motion to approve certificate of compliance.
Seconded.
Roll call vote?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. All right. 4 is a request for a certificate of compliance, SC-24-734. Owner applicant is Highland Farms Development LLC. Project location is 15 Hayfield Lane. Assessors map is U-01-0044. Filed by SciTech Inc. on behalf of applicant requesting certificate of compliance. SEC has determined all work permitted has been substantially completed in accordance with the order conditions and approval plan.
So similar to the last property, it appears that everything was done per the plans. The signage was installed. Everything looks like it was done correctly, and the site is stabilized.
Okay. So can I have a motion or a certificate of compliance?
Make a motion to approve certificate of compliance.
Second.
Second, roll call vote?
Aye.
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 Measure passes. Next is the adoption of standard order of conditions, special conditions policy. We're going to review and discuss and adopt the order of conditions. This did go out a little late, but it's, did everyone get a chance to look this over?
Yes.
I have.
I think this will be helpful for us going forward. We do have to read it in the minutes, which...
I'm more than happy to read it
Okay.
if that's what you all would like.
Sounds good.
Let me have another sip of water first. It's a long one. Okay. In addition to those listed under Section C, General Conditions under Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, within the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection's WPA Form 5 Order of Conditions per Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the following list of special conditions shall apply to all order of conditions granted by the Fall River Conservation Commission. General, the document shall be included by reference in all contacts, plans, and specifications dealing with the activity that is the subject of this order, and that are created or modified after the issuance date of this order, along with a statement that this order shall supersede any conflicting contractual arrangements, plans, or specifications. 2, the applicant shall provide a copy of the order to the person or persons supervising the activity that is the subject of this order, and will be responsible for ensuring that all persons performing the permitted activity are fully aware of the terms and conditions of this order. 3, the Commission reserves the right to impose additional conditions on any or all portions of this project that could impact an area of statutory interest under the Act. 4, copies of all additional local, state, and federal permits or approvals relevant to the project shall be submitted to the Conservation Commission. Prior to construction. Prior to any work commencing on site, the applicant shall arrange with the Commission or its agent a pre-activity meeting between the applicant and/or applicant's representative, the person or the persons or supervisor responsible for the work, and a member of the Conservation Commission or its agent. The applicant shall display the DEP file number for this order on a sign with a minimum dimension of 2 feet by 2 feet at a location clearly visible from the street. The sign shall remain in place and visible until a certificate of compliance is issued. The applicant shall provide proof to the Commission or its agents that the order of conditions has been recorded at the Registry of Deeds. The applicant shall provide the Commission with the names and telephone numbers of the site contractor and project managers responsible on site for compliance with the order. The Commission shall be notified in the event that the project manager or site contractor is changed. Sedimentation and erosion control shall be installed prior to any work on site, including clearing, and shall also serve as the limit of work. The contractor shall notify the Commission immediately following sedimentation and erosion control installation to schedule an inspection. No work may proceed on the property until the Commission or its agent approves the installation and location of controls. Moving on, during construction. The applicant and any person involved in the activity that is subject of this order shall notify the Commission or its agent immediately upon discovery of any matter related to this order that may affect any area within jurisdiction of the Commission. A copy of this order of conditions, construction plans, and copies of the documents and reports shall be on site upon commencement during any site work for contractors to view and adhere to. Under no conditions shall the operation of equipment, storage of materials, stockpiling soil, or other site disturbance take place beyond the limit of work. The sedimentation controls shall serve as the limit of work. All stockpiles of soil existing for more than 1 day shall be covered and surrounded by a row of sedimentation controls. If soils are to be disturbed for longer than 2 months, then temporary cover shall be established to prevent erosion and sedimentation. If the season is not appropriate for plant growth, exposed surfaces shall be stabilized by straw, jute netting, or other approved methods. Any stabilization materials such as jute netting shall be firmly anchored to prevent them from being washed from slopes by rain or flooding. Erosion and sedimentation controls shall be maintained throughout the entire construction phase and until the site has become stabilized with permanent vegetative cover and the commission or its agent has approved their removal. Post-construction. Upon completion of construction, final soil stabilization and the removal of erosion and sedimentation controls, the applicant shall submit the following to the Conservation Commission to request a certificate of compliance. A completed request for a certificate of compliance form, WPA Form 8A, a letter from a registered professional engineer certifying compliance of the property with this order of conditions and detailing any deviations that exist and their potential effect on the project. A statement that the work is in substantial compliance with no detailing of the deviation shall not be accepted. An as-built plan signed and stamped by a registered professional engineer or land surveyor showing post-construction conditions within all areas under the jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act. And last but not least, conditions in perpetuity. Pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and fertilizers shall not be used within 100 feet of the wetlands, within the riverfront area, and within bordering land subject to flooding. Organic pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and fertilizers may be used subject to the review and approval of the Conservation Commission. This shall be noted in the certificate of compliance and shall be an ongoing condition. The conditions shall survive the expiration of this order and shall be included as a continuing condition in perpetuity on the certificate of compliance. 14, there shall be no dumping of leaves, grass clippings, brush, or other debris into wetland resource areas. This condition shall survive the expiration of the order and shall be included as a continuing condition in perpetuity on the certificate of compliance. 15, prior to the issuance of a certificate of compliance, the applicant shall permanently mark the limit of work approved in this order to ensure no inadvertent encroachment into the resource areas. The applicant shall instruct all agents to explain these markers to buyers, lessees, landscapers, and all persons taking over the property from the applicant. This condition shall survive the expiration of the order and shall be included as a continuing condition in perpetuity on the certificate of compliance. And 16, the owner of the property described in this order must advise any potential buyer of the property that any construction or alteration to said property, including brush cutting or clearance, may require approval by the Fall River Conservation Commission. Any instrument conveying any or all of the owner's interests in said property, or any portion thereof, shall contain language similar to the following, end quote. This property is subject to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. Any construction, landscaping, or maintenance work performed on this property may require approval from the Fall River Conservation Commission. This condition shall survive the expiration of the order and shall be included as a continuing condition in perpetuity on the certificate of compliance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming up with these order conditions, because I think what this is going to do is it's going to let the applicant know coming before us, because sometimes you leave out an order or a condition. This way, it's right there, everything's outlined, so we won't be missing something when we make a motion. Does any board members have any questions or anything that they?
Well, what's more important, the conditions in perpetuity, in my opinion, because what happens is, once a development is put in, there's consistently encroachment into, and I've been out to Highland Farms and spoken to at least one resident who's very concerned about the use of pesticides and fertilizers adjacent to stormwater retention areas and adjacent to Steep Brook. He made that very clear. So I think it's important that the conditions in perpetuity are important, and obviously it's going to be about enforcement and following up with folks. Obviously we have a pool installed in an area where it shouldn't be. But this is pretty typical, not just in developments in Fall River, but in other developments.
This is incredibly typical, especially with subdivisions, where usually the title of ownership is a little harder to kind of parcel out when you look for it at the Registry of Deeds. Because a lot of times, the order gets recorded under that first parcel, but then it gets divided out, and then it doesn't necessarily make it on the same book and page reference as a new deed to a subdivided property, so.
Jim, did you have a?
Yeah, I had a question. I just didn't understand. It would be 12C. I just didn't understand I don't know what an as-built plan is.
So what an as-built plan really is it's a plan created by a surveyor or an engineer that shows everything that was built on site. So it's the as-built, what was built there. And this is actually kind of a duplicate from what is in the standard order of conditions, but put here because it's one of the pieces that's oftentimes overlooked from the state document, that, you know, any project with stamped plans needs to, upon being finished, they need to come back with plans kind of certifying that the work was done per plan, showing what work was done out there. So it's a requirement for, to be honest, it's also a requirement of all of our site plan reviews as well, and usually this also corresponds with that. So it's something that's already being created by most of the applicants at this point.
And I had a second question, which I don't think is part of this, but I have an opportunity to look to see some of my neighbors on Lake Avenue and Fall River caring for their lawns. And, you know, they use plenty of chemicals. And I have only talked to two of them with actually pretty good results about, can you lighten up? Does this apply, did any of this apply would this apply to my house?
No, so this would apply to only those projects permitted through the Conservation Commission. Only those, basically, it's working within the law by creating conditions in the permitting process set out by the state. Some communities actually have passed bylaws and ordinances that limit the use of fertilizers, specifically because of the stormwater issue that it causes with eutrophication. I can never say this right. Eutrophication and harmful algal blooms. But at this point, you know, I think that's a little down the road if we are going to consider something like that. But it is possible to pass an ordinance, and communities such as Fall River are required by federal law actually to do some outreach on these issues as part of the Stormwater MS4 program, which is the municipal separate storm sewer system permit that the federal government gives to municipalities so they can discharge stormwater. So it's a requirement from there, but I think, you know, to your point, I think, you know, beyond like the ordinance aspect down the line, maybe some more public education on the matter, because it seems like some people just don't really know that the harmful impact that it has.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Any other questions?
I have a question for, regarding number 3. It says we have the right to impose additional conditions. Is there a certain timing on that? Is that during,
No, that's throughout the entirety of the project, within reason, of course. You know, we can't decide last minute that, oh, we're harsh enough on this thing, let's create a new condition when there's no impact. It's mostly in regards to observed impacts on site that maybe we were unable to, you know, predict during the hearing process, because it's just part of the procedure, to be honest, is sometimes you permit it one way, and then as you go forward, you realize that, oh, maybe we should have had them do more erosion control here or that, or sedimentation control there. It's to allow us to make those kind of site changes as the work's going on.
So can I have a motion to adopt the order of conditions and special conditions policy?
I make the motion to adopt
I'll second that.
standard special conditions. Absolutely.
Roll call vote?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion passes.
And this, for now, will be a policy, but, you know, once we get the ordinance and then regulations down, we can add this to actual regulations, so then they have more power than they do as a policy, similar to our 25-foot no disturbance zone. So down the line, hopefully, we can make this more of a hardened restriction, basically.
So now, when somebody goes to the website, and we have under policy now, I think is just the 25-foot buffer, this will appear?
Yeah, we can try to get it on the website. We can work
Okay.
on that. Yeah.
And this is not the extent of orders of condition. We can
No.
add
Correct.
additional to, and I'm assuming that the document is flexible enough that we can, excuse me, omit some of these if necessary, depending on the particular
Yeah.
aspects
Yeah.
of the site, but it would be up to the Conservation Commission to make
Yeah.
those decisions.
Yeah, I made them broad enough where they should normally pertain to most projects. There may be a couple things about the limit of disturbance that don't fit, but I would rather have those as de facto conditions
Right.
than, forget to put it in or something. And, more conditions can be added, and then, they can always request a waiver, or we can decide to waive any of these, so.
Yeah.
I didn't realize either.
Let's see, next is a receipt of correspondence, review and discussion of notification of submittal of release of notification form regarding 851 Globe Street. Any news?
And unless there's any discussion, I'll make a motion to record this on file.
Second?
Aye.
Roll call vote?
Aye.
Aye.
What is the motion? I just couldn't hear it.
We're making a motion to put it on file.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, next is a receipt of correspondence, review and
You probably
discussion.
need to vote. I interrupted you.
Go, we did vote.
Oh.
Go ahead, finish. I think we
didn't
did.
say words.
Vote again, Chris? Well,
Aye.
aye?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Alrighty. 7 is receipt of correspondence, review and discussion, determination of administrative completeness and site visit notice regarding water quality certification for 120 Charles Street. Any questions? Make a motion to table, file.
So move.
Second.
Is this the matter that, there's supposed to be a meeting tomorrow, but that's being moved to February, is that correct? Okay.
Yeah. We received a call, right before the meeting about that.
So any discussion or just?
Who seconded that?
On this issue, we all got the same memo, which was, we're invited to meet with them at a different date, and I forget what the date was. Are we able to do that as a group legally, more than 2 of us?
So, it's not a requirement to attend this, but if we were to do that, it is possible to have site visits with an entire commission here. I would have to, make sure that council's okay with that, but I was always under the impression that you could have a site visit with a quorum, but you're not allowed to discuss. You can ask questions, but you can't, talk amongst yourselves and deliberate on any topic. But that was in my last gig, so I would want to double check that with city council here.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, so we had a motion to file. Second, did we have one?
It was.
Okay, roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty. Let's see. Can I have a motion to waive the reading of the minutes?
Make a motion to waive the meeting of the minutes.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
And can I have a motion for approval of the minutes for December 6, 2021?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Second.
Second, roll call vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye, okay. No public input, no, already. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Roll call
Seconded.
vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, doke.